Hello, my beautiful friends and loyal listeners. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly makes it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Xen Sams. That's Xen with an X. And you can also text the word collaboration or feature me to 917-575-2321. Again, that number is 917-575-2321. We have a great show lined up for you today. As usual, a mix of celebrities, impressive citizens, politicians, and a little bit of fun. On today's show, I'm excited to say that we have Jeff Wallner's crew of Wallner Media and John Askew, EVP of the LA Superstars. They've put together a basketball dream team called the Hollywood Entourage, and they've been playing at the Rucker up on 155th and Frederick Douglass Boulevard. They have gone undefeated twice in a row. The team's stars include Randy Gill, better known to the world as White Chocolate, the nickname he earned on the street ball courts, and pro basketball player William Henry Smush Parker. We'll chit-chat b-ball and summertime in the city and what the game means to so many of us. We're very excited for this week's Scandal segment with legal expert Imran Ansari of Idala Bertuna Commons, otherwise known as ABK Law here in NYC. He is an on-air host and legal analyst on Law and Crime Network and Court TV. We'll be talking about the true crime film Believe Me, the abduction of Lisa McVeigh, that is captivating Netflix viewers and sparking renewed interest in the case it depicts. The movie recounts the true story of Lisa McVeigh, who was abducted and raped for 26 hours by serial killer Bobby Joe Long in Tampa, Florida back in 1984. Imran will break down the case for us and discuss capital punishment and victim blaming. Of course, that's not all. We also have Chrissy Dress, founder of Cure de Repos Spa in Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia, and published beauty contributor. She's going to come on with her amazing skincare tips and guide us through our mask breakouts. But before we bring on all the excitement, learn how you can take better care of yourself simply by listening to some interesting and sometimes surprising general health facts. Here goes. Laughing is good for the heart and can increase blood flow by 20%. A lack of exercise now causes as many deaths as smoking. Feeling stressed? Just read. Getting lost in a book can lower levels of cortisol and other unhealthy stress hormones by 68%. Drinking coffee can reduce the risk of depression, especially in women. Swearing can make you feel better when you're in pain. Chocolate is good for your skin. Its antioxidants improve blood flow and protect against UV damage. Almonds, avocados, and arugula, the 3 A's, can boost your sex drive and improve fertility. Extra virgin olive oil is the healthiest fat on the planet. Vitamin D is as important as calcium in determining bone health, and most people don't get enough of it. Sleeping naked can help you burn more calories. That's right. And walking at a fast pace for 3 hours or more at least once a week will reduce your risk of heart disease by up to 65%. Even at rest, muscle is 3 times more efficient at burning calories than fat. The average moderately active person walks approximately 7,500 steps a day, which is the lifetime equivalent of walking around the earth 5 times. Drinking at least 5 glasses of water a day can reduce your chances of suffering from a heart attack by 40%. And finally, the blue light from your phone can mess with your circadian rhythm. Now, I hope you learned something here. Knowledge is power, and I just love draping my listeners with great intel. You're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back with basketball legends White Chocolate and Smush Parker. Stay put.
A Moment of Xen is brought to you by Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City, Vice Cucina in Midtown Manhattan, Revere Securities, and Helen Yarmack International. Tune in every Saturday night at 9 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, or download the iHeart app. Text the word collaborations to 917-575-2321. Follow Xen on social media at Xen Sams. That's Xen with an X.
Beautiful people, you're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Xen Sams. Now let's chat some basketball. For some, it's like a religion. Their love for the game goes on a much deeper level. Basketball is an escape from the realities of the day-to-day grind. Whether playing or watching, people immerse themselves in the action, while others have a deep understanding and appreciation for the history of the game. Walk into Harlem's Rucker Park, located on 155th Street and Frederick Douglass Boulevard in New York City, right across from where the Polo Grounds used to stand. On any ordinary afternoon, you might not understand what the ruckus is all about. Well, not right away, at least. Sure, there are bleachers, both metal and concrete, surrounding the single court, and there's a scoreboard above the seats by midcourt. Well, other than that, though, it's just one more blacktop in a city that has thousands of them, right? Wrong. Well, don't believe me? Take it from Fat Joe. The Bronx-born rapper started coming to the park in '91 before he was spitting, before he was famous. He eventually led a team of his own, Terror Squad, to multiple Entertainer Basketball Classic, otherwise known as EBC, on 155th Street. Now, basketball culture in New York City is everything. Every summer, all attention goes there and everybody comes out to the Rucker. You get a feeling and a vibe like nowhere else. Everybody knows this. All 5 boroughs know summertime to be in Harlem at the Rucker. And over time, the pros transitioned from playing regularly to making special appearances. Still, though, street ballers continued to establish themselves at the park. Now, Harlem playground director Holcomb Rucker founded the park's inaugural tournament, the Rucker League, in the 1950s. It quickly transformed into a summer pro AM showcase where NBA players faced off against New York street legends like Earl Manigault and Pee Wee Kirkland. NYC's basketball fans didn't see the likes of Wilt Chamberlain and Julius Erving for the first time at Madison Square Garden. No, they didn't. They witnessed them in action at the Rucker. Now, joining us today is Jeff Wallner's crew. A big thanks to Wallner Media for who made it all possible today. Now, Jeff Wallner has an extensive 17-year career on Wall Street, where he was recruited to build sports and entertainment divisions for investment banks. But he's no stranger to sports. He received a full player scholarship from Louisburg College in North Carolina, where he received a business degree and won praise on the baseball field. The high point of Jeff's athletic achievement was when the Los Angeles Dodgers, Cincinnati Reds, and Boston Red Sox vied extensively to recruit him. Unfortunately, a career-ending injury forced Jeff to abandon his dream of becoming a professional player. Now he's Mr. Hollywood and spends his very busy days organizing baseball games at the Rucker, producing A-list Hollywood films, and focusing on the Harlem Hoops and hip-hop documentary. We also have John Askew, who served as EVP of Business Development for Champions League and is now the EVP of the LA Superstars. And today's stars include Randy Gill, better known to the world as White Chocolate, the nickname he earned on the baseball courts. On the street ball courts, and pro basketball player Smush Parker, William Henry Smush Parker, that is. I'm a mom and I like full names. He played 2 seasons with the Lakers from 2005 to 2007. He was born in Brooklyn, attended Newton High School in Elmhurst, Queens, where he was a breakout star shooting guard. He played for 5 seasons on various teams, including Cleveland Cavaliers, Detroit Pistons, Phoenix Suns, Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat, and the Los Angeles Clippers. Welcome to the show, Smush and company. Smush, are you there? Absolutely. So, Smush, I'm going to introduce Randy.
Yes, I'm here.
Great. I'm going to give Randy his introduction, but first I wanted everybody to hear from you, and I wanted everybody to kind of understand your love for basketball and what the Rucker means to you.
Well, my love for basketball is, I was born with a basketball. My dad played basketball. My mom played basketball. So I was always around the game. And, I was taught the game at a young age. And I just grew up in a city where, basketball is a part of is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. New York City, it's the mecca of the mecca of basketball. There's a basketball court on every corner, and let's talk about EBC and 155th and what that means to me. You just named a few NBA players, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Dr. J. That's a legacy, and that's where it started. And you go on through all the years, and a number of NBA guys come and show up. There's a lot of competition there, and for me, it was playing in the NBA before I got to the NBA.
That's incredible. You are a star within a star. And now you're part of this documentary that we're going to be talking about, courtesy of Wallner Media. Jeff Wallner is also joining us today, who is the reason why this interview is happening. Jeff is not just a love for Hollywood, but he has a love for sports as well. Jeff, tell us a little bit about this documentary that you are producing called Harlem Hoops and Hip Hop.
Hey. Thanks, Xenia. Thanks for having everybody on. I really appreciate it, and it's good to see you. I really enjoy watching your show every week, and it's awesome. This project is near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. There's guys that won championships in the NBA, and literally they'll put up the trophy, but basically at the end of the day, it's all about the days they played at the Rucker. And this documentary is going to highlight two situations that happen in Harlem. Once is the birth of hip hop, and also the birth of the Rucker, of the EBC Entertainment League, with all the special people that all participated.
Something like this definitely has to be put together, and a documentary like this is very fitting at a time like this, where I think we need something that shows the world unification, and sports unifies everybody. You have people at the Rucker, rivals that will come, and you know what happens in the streets of Harlem when those rivals are at the Rucker? Nothing. There's no crime taking place on the street because they are all there watching the game, and they leave it at the court, which is great. Now, Randy Gill, better known to the world as White Chocolate, the nickname he earned on the street ball courts throughout America and made famous when you won MTV and Magic Johnson's reality television show Who Got Game. He beat 11 other legendary street ball players to win the $100,000 first prize. And then the show had aired for an entire season, which was seen by over 100 million viewers worldwide. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. How you doing, Xenia? Very nice to meet you. Well, I've been playing basketball professionally for like the last 15 years all over the planet. Recently with the Big Three, playing a little bit of that. And then just when the summertime comes, it is our NBA, because you get to play against the best players in the world in the summertime, and in the Harlem Rucker Park, it's nothing like it. That's why I come all the way from DC every summer for 17 straight summers, because when I was little, that was where I wanted to play. I wanted to play in the NBA, but that is, like Smush said, that is. But for us, that is our NBA. Like Smush was in the NBA and all that. But guys like myself, that is the NBA to us. So we just can't wait every year till the summertime comes and we're able to play at the EBC. To me, it's the best place to play in the world.
And you're right. The summertime is anticipated for not just grown-ups, but for kids alike. And this keeps a lot of youth out of trouble and teaches them a sense of discipline. And I know that you love working with children, and you have a past in advocating for a lot of youth organizations. Tell us about your involvement with kids.
Well, for me, I just youth and everybody, definitely the youth, just telling them to believe in themselves to achieve their goals. If they believe and put in the work, that they can accomplish anything they want in their life. So I just use basketball as a vehicle and a tool to just show them and inspire them to be great at whatever that they want to do in life and whatever they want to pursue. But if they put that work in, they can achieve their goals. So.
Incredible. So currently you're working on this documentary with Jeff Wallner. And also we have John Askew as well. And John has extensive experience in sports management. He has decades of experience in pro basketball. He served as EVP of Business Development for Champions League and is now the EVP of the LA Superstars, or I think that's still the case. We're going to ask him himself. But prior to that, he was a senior VP at Brewer Sports. He's managed sports marketing teams and strategies, financial planning for both players for 6 years. He's involved with so much, and he is directly in charge in coaching all of you guys to victory, specifically in this team that Jeff Wallner has put together. Jeff, tell us about this team, and then John. Actually, let's start with John first. What's it like coaching these guys, and then Jeff, how did this all come together? We have less than 3 minutes left.
Okay, so hi everybody. It's a real unique situation for myself because I have an extensive background with both Randy White Chocolate and Smush Parker. I saw Smush Parker before he became Smush Parker, the NBA player. I saw him when he was the street ball player. We talked about that 20 years ago when at a famous park in New York is where I first ran across him and said, that guy's going to be special. And interesting enough with Randy, I took Randy on tour, White Chocolate on tour, back in the early 2000s during the time when he was on the show, Who's Got Game. So we kind of, we took advantage of what he was doing on that TV show to actually start branding Randy early. So I'm and Smush also plays for. You said something about the Professional Basketball League, where I'm COO with Byron Scott of the entire league. And Smush is a player for the played for my LA Superstar basketball team. So it's like street ball. I've had an opportunity to connect street ball and professional ball between these two guys, which makes this a very unique situation.
Guiding these guys is a task in and of itself, but when you're coaching a team, when you're involved in sports management, you're one of the experts and the best of the best. And now, Jeff Wallner, you have now miraculously put together this incredible team of people, from talent to management. Tell us about this documentary really quickly in under a minute, and how you plan on and where we can find it after it's done and all that good stuff.
Yeah, thanks. Well, listen, this is a team effort here. John came to me with the concept. John had all the relationships, obviously being a former basketball player, me being in Hollywood producing films. He came to me with this idea. So together we collaborated and we put the team together, and we just basically, strategize with very, very talented people to storyboard the project. The distribution has been, we have so many different options with this project, obviously, because it's so diverse with the music and the sports. What I can say about this is we're really excited. We're going to have unbelievable talent. Music is going to be off the charts with all the hip hop artists that are involved. I mean, we're doing the soundtrack with the Wu-Tang and the Fugees. And so we're really excited on the soundtrack as well, because you're talking about 30 years of music, from when the park first started. And, Xenia, some of these artists that are famous today, they actually were no names at the Rucker when they performed during halftime. So, and we have all this on film.
Wow, that sounds like a great documentary. We're talking about Harlem, hoops, and hip hop that Jeff Wallner is producing. I can't wait to have you back, and we'll chat some more.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Xenia. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
You're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Xen Sams. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Xen is brought to you by Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City, Vice Cucina in Midtown Manhattan, Revere Securities, and Helen Yarmack International. Tune in every Saturday night at 9 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, or download the iHeart app. Text the word collaborations to 917-575-2321. Follow Xen on social media at Xen Sams. That's Xen with an X.
Guys, this is Kyle Wool, president of Revere Wealth Management. I'm here to give the weekly business bump for A Moment of Xen. Looks to be the main topic that we're still talking about is global inflation. Chairman Powell, the Federal Reserve Bank, came out last week and said that it looks like we're going to begin to raise interest rates probably early 2022, and this has the markets a little scared, especially with the U.S. economic recovery and the economic boom, and the rest of the world's markets are getting quite skittish and nervous about global inflation. Another thing that we're talking about is home builders. It looks like we're still 6% lag on the homes that need to be built in this country, and lumber prices, even though they've been very high of late, are starting to subside a little bit, but these are things that we really have to keep an eye on. Another thing that we noticed over the last week, we're starting to see a bifurcation in the FANG stocks. You're seeing Facebook and Google doing very well because most of their revenue is derived from advertising, but at the same time, you're seeing Apple take a step back along with Netflix. And I think the reason Apple is taking a step back really is concerns out of East Asia, out of Taiwan, and out of South Korea about microchips and semiconductors, and if there will be any lack of those productions and the assembly lines. Now with Netflix, I believe with people going back to work, jumping on airplanes again, going on summer vacations, the new subscribers has paired off a little bit, and that's something to really keep an eye on regarding the FANG stocks. I think another big topic that we've seen over the last 6 months and we're continuing to see is consolidation between big tech and big media. We saw Amazon go out for roughly $8.5 billion and buy MGM for their content studio. Disney recently bought 20th Century Fox for a deal that would be valued over $71 billion. And AT&T did a merger with Discovery for $43 billion, which would be over $100 billion post-merger valuation. So those are the topics that we're seeing. That's your weekly business bump from Kyle Wool, president of Wealth Management at Revere Securities. And I'll throw it back to you, Xen.
Welcome back, beautiful people. You're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Xen Sams. Now, coming up, we have a special guest. Her name is Chrissy Dress, founder of Cure de Repos Spa in Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia, and published beauty contributor. She will come on with her amazing skincare tips, especially since many of us are breaking out or tending to have reactive skin due to these masks. Let's learn to take care of that stressed out skin under those shields, especially in the summer, the proper way. So lots of beauty tips coming up. But first, let's chat spas for a bit. The global spa service market size is expected to reach $133.28 billion by 2027. The increasingly hectic lifestyle and post-pandemic drama has influenced the need for body and mind wellness, which in turn will foster the growth of the market. Now, the number of tourists and locals seeking spa treatment is an essential factor accelerating the revenue of the industry in any market. Now, as per data released by the Global Wellness Institute, the number of wellness trips in recent years increased from 691 million back in 2015 to about 830 million closer to 2018. And the market size stood at 105.18 billion in 2019, not far from that 2027 mark of exceeding 133 billion. Now, there are many psychological benefits of going to the spa, why spas are so popular. Now, they offer mindfulness time. While you enjoy your spa treatment, you also have the opportunity to relax and unwind alone. This is an opportunity to practice mindfulness and take a break from social media and technology. That's what I use it for. Spa visits can also soothe the blues. Spa treatments increase your self-esteem and self-confidence. Regular facials improve your complexion, reduce fine lines, fade acne scars, and target problem areas. Improving skin health can definitely increase your self-esteem and self-confidence. Now, treatments involving touch calm your stress response, which many people do not get enough of in their daily lives. When you enjoy a massage, your body's stress response calms down. Now, aromatherapy treatments provide a psychological boost. Whether you want to relax, re-energize, de-stress, or beat anxiety, aromatherapy spa treatments can help you adjust your mood. They absolutely can. With the growing awareness among people regarding their health and well-being, now the spa market is gaining popularity across the world. Moreover, growing mental health problems such as depression, anxiety, and stress, which are becoming more common among people, is driving the demand for spa services. Now, Chrissy Dress has worked in the beauty industry for over a decade, from managing beauty boutiques to a leader in cosmetic sales for the state of Arizona. She has also worked as a makeup artist for MTV, the History Channel, E! Entertainment, Fox, and Good Morning News, to name a few. But she's always had her eye on the treatment room, and she decided to attend the prestigious Rizzeri Avida School, and she is now owner of Cure de Repos in Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia. Now, Cure de Repos is a new era concept with old world principles. Their mantra is to exceed all client expectations. Cure is a resurrection of personal touch, high-end service, cleanliness, and the ultimate boutique spa experience. Chrissy is so passionate about the beauty industry on many levels that she's here to share her knowledge and skill set with us. Welcome to the show, Stunner.
Thank you so much, Xen. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. Now, listen, you are so accomplished. Tell us about your wonderful spa and what people can expect once they visit it, and then I'm going to pick your brain on skincare tips.
Okay, wonderful. So yes, first and foremost, we are Cure de Repos, located at 8133 Germantown Ave in Philadelphia. Actually, today is our last day in operation here at this location. It's been 5 years. We will be moving up the street to 8439 Germantown, and we are expanding our spa from, I would say, 4 times the size. So we're going to be incorporating new different treatments, such as body scrubs. We have a shower there, infrared light sauna. We have a backyard for moonlight meditation. So lots of good stuff to come.
Moonlight meditation, that sounds fun. How does that work?
So we will get together with a local woman who has singing bowls, and she comes and she is phenomenal. She sings and she does sound bath meditation, if you've ever heard of that. And we all sit together outside and do a little meditation. It's quite lovely.
That sounds like something right up my alley. I definitely am going to come check that out. Now, a lot of women email me and they say, Xen, I'm breaking out. The mask is causing my skin to not be able to breathe properly. Now, we have the summer heat that's just rolled in here in the tri-state area. I know Philadelphia too. We are exceeding temperatures of 85 to 90 degrees at times. What's your recommendation to keep that skin calm underneath these masks that, in some of the states are still a requirement?
Yes, that's a great question. So essentially, within your regime, you want to look for a toner that will have glycolic alpha hydroxys or beta hydroxys. Glycolic acid at a low percent, such as 10%, is going to help the cellular turnover of the skin. So little breakouts, it will help with discoloration. The alpha hydroxy is going to add a humectant quality to the skin, so it's binding whatever product you put on afterwards. And then the beta hydroxy is going to help to slow free radicals, which we know cause fine lines and damage. So looking for a really good toner to implement in the morning is going to be key.
Wow. Well, okay. So you put the toner on before you put anything else on, and then I assume your moisturizer and then the mask?
Correct. Yes. So you want to think lightest to heaviest. So cleanse, tone, which is very liquidy, serum, and then lotion or cream.
So the toner is an important step. See, I missed that part. I haven't been using toner, so maybe that's one of the reasons I've been breaking out in that area right underneath, my lower lip where the chin is. Okay, cool. So what about now, if from your perspective, what's a good budget for skincare routine without compromising quality?
Good question. So, in the summertime, I like to really scale it back. There's no reason to be layering and layering. There's no reason to triple cleanse your skin, double cleanse, because we don't want to strip the skin either. So a good cleanser is going to cost you $30 to $40. A good toner is going to be in that same price range. I like to do a serum and SPF during the day. So your serum can be 128, and then your SPF is a good SPF is going to cost you $40 to $70.
Wait, the serum is 128 what?
Dollars, around that.
Really? It's that expensive?
If you're using a good quality one, yes.
Got it. Okay, so that's important to know. People need to know this stuff. Sometimes you think, am I overspending on a serum, and is this really a necessary step for 128, $20 or $30 or so? But listen, if the beauty expert is telling me, then I'm definitely going to check that out. Now, if you can only pack 3 things in a summer essential kit, what would they be?
So if I was ever stranded on an island, the first thing that would come out of my bag would be eye cream. I tell all my clients who are in their 20s, by the time you're 28, you need to have a really good eye cream. Now, somebody at 28 is not going to use the same eye cream that somebody that's my age or, above. So just starting that regime with an eye cream at 28 is most important. It will save you later on down the line. Eye cream SPF, definitely. It's going to, sun is the number one aging factor, right? So you want to protect your skin, and a mineral block is most important. Something that has titanium dioxide, mica. If you're allergic to mica, you can alleviate that, but titanium dioxide is very important.
Titanium dioxide in your sunscreen, you're saying?
Correct.
Got it.
Correct. That's going to be a mineral block, and that's really going to, block the sun from penetrating your skin. I actually don't have any makeup on myself today.
You look beautiful, by the way. Absolutely stunning.
And so do you.
Except I have a lot of makeup on.
But I wanted to show that with good skincare, the sheen that I have on my skin is serums. So the third thing that I would take with me is a lip conditioner. That is important as well, just to keep them nice and kissable. Beautiful.
So lip conditioner, eye cream, and a good SPF.
Correct.
There you go. Okay, now, is it, is it true that to when people work out, after they work out, if they don't clean their face and leave that sweat just kind of sit there into their, into their next errand, so to speak. Is it true that you will increase these breakouts? And if so, what would you recommend in terms of a wipe, both for men and women, after they work out or when they're sweating throughout the day, that they could just kind of dab on their face to get rid of all that excess oil?
It's another great question that I encounter almost daily myself, especially with teens when they're in sports and school. And their hormones are raging, so they're breaking out more so than your normal adult would. So I always say that any face wipe, according to me, is Satan's spawn. So I do not believe in face wipes. I believe that they will break you out. What you're doing is smearing around your workout, and you're pushing all the sweat and toxins back into the pores. That's terrible. You don't want to do that. If anything, you want to wash your face. If you can't wash your face because you're off and running to the next, errand that you have, then you want to look for something like a croon, CROON. This microfiber is created and found only in Austria. You wet it and then you just wipe your face. So like that, or like a magic makeup remover, something like that. But absolutely no wipes. Please don't.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad I asked you the question. Okay, good. So croon, everybody Google that, CROON. And I guess
amazing.
There you go. And I guess Amazon has plenty of those available. So that's what we're going to be using from now on. You heard it from the expert herself, guys. Thank you so much for joining the show, Chrissy. We're definitely going to have you back on, and maybe you could give us some more beauty tips throughout the month.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure. So check out curedereposspa.com. Is that correct?
curederepo.com.
curederepo.com. All right, that's Chrissy Dress, the expert herself. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, beautiful people. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. I am your host, Xen Sams. Now, coming up in a few, we have the Scandals segment with Imran Ansari of Idala Bertuna Commons, otherwise known as ABK Law, right here in New York City. But first, let me get you guys updated, all right? Believe Me, The Abduction of Lisa McVeigh is the title of true crime film documentary that is captivating Netflix viewers and sparking renewed interest in the case it depicts. Now, on another note, there was also a movie, the film, Believe Me, The Abduction of Lisa McVeigh, that was first released back in 2018 and premiered on Lifetime in the United States and on Showcase in Canada. Now, it was released on Netflix in the UK this month and is now trending #1 on the streaming platform. The movie recounts the true story of Lisa McVeigh, now otherwise known as Lisa Noland, who was abducted and raped for 26 hours by serial killer Bobby Joe Long in Tampa, Florida, back in 1984. Now, McVeigh convinced her captor to let her go and is known today as the only living survivor after he began raping and murdering women. Now, on the night of November 3rd, back in 1984, then 17-year-old Lisa finished her shift at a local donut shop and began her cycle home. She noticed the car was suddenly following her, and suddenly a man, later discovered to be Bobby Joe Long, knocked her off her bike and pulled her into his car at gunpoint. He drove her to his apartment where he treated her as basically a sex slave for over a day. Now, McVeigh's story was already horrifying before the abduction. Guys, she was being sexually abused by her grandmother's boyfriend in her own home, possibly with her grandmother and mother's knowledge. Now, this story does have a happy ending, but has caused a world of scars for her. Now, Lisa went on to become a sheriff deputy at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office in Florida, the same department that worked her case. She's married to a police officer with children of her own. Now, her abductor killed at least 10 women and was believed to have committed at least 50 rapes in Florida. And in 1985, he was sentenced to death row for 2 of the 10 murders. He was executed back in 2019 after spending more than 3 decades on Florida's death row. He declined to make a final statement before his death. Now, joining us to talk about this case is a legal expert, Imran Ansari of ABK Law. Imran is an experienced trial attorney at ABK, and he is experienced in civil litigation, personal injury, and criminal law. And over his several years in the district attorney's office, he successfully prosecuted hundreds of serious cases. Imran is also an on-air host and legal analyst on Law and Crime Network, as well as a frequent on-air legal analyst for Court TV. He was named Super Lawyers Rising Star in 2018 and made Super Lawyers again this year. So congratulations. Welcome to the Scandal segment, my dear friend.
Thank you, Xen. I'm very excited to be here.
So let's walk the audience down some of these gruesome statistics. Now, the story has viewers fuming on social media. Many have felt that the case was not over because the authorities, who had not believed McVeigh at first, faced no consequences. What do you say to this?
Yeah, no, you see this documentary, you see this movie, and it's really interesting how it's really come to light again. You know, as you mentioned, it's a 2018 film that aired on Lifetime here in the States. Netflix puts it on their streaming platform in the UK, and all of a sudden, it's trending again. Lisa McVeigh and Long are just 2 names that are trending, and everyone's interested in this case. And one aspect of it is that people can't believe, and it's depicted in the movie, that the Tampa police didn't believe Lisa McVeigh after she escaped her captor. She went to law enforcement. She reported what happened to her. And you see it in the movie. You see that these officers are sort of looking at her with some skepticism. They don't really believe what's going on. And then finally enter Detective Pinkerton, who is someone that I believe Lisa McVeigh still looks to as a hero in her life. And he really believes her story and starts the investigation. And you go through all the harrowing experience that she had to go through. And she had the wherewithal to really, in essence, collect her own evidence or make her own evidence while she's going through this harrowing experience. And it was the information that she gives law enforcement and what she preserved, if you will, in terms of information and evidence that ultimately leads to Long's arrest, prosecution, and as we know in 2019, with Lisa McVeigh in the front row, his death sentence.
Exactly. And more importantly, you know, she was a fan of TV police shows, she said, and she decided to try and help the cops find this beast. Even if she, in her mind, she had said, even if she wasn't going to make it out alive. So the details that helped put him away, you know, in his car, she said she made sure to leave traces of blood in the backseat area to leave evidence behind. And even though she was blindfolded, she tried to remember the rough route that the car was taking. And when they got to Long's flat, she counted the stairs to his apartment. And during her horrific ordeal, she was allowed to go to the bathroom and quickly, you know, and she quickly made sure to leave as many fingerprints as possible in the entire room. So to your point, she herself was her, you know, the reason why this guy was able to ultimately be apprehended and did face the death penalty. Now, is victim blaming still a thing within the legal system? Because it seems as if that the cops who did not believe her, you know, were the reason why her case was being held up. Now, what do you say to victim blaming?
Yeah, Xen, I mean, I think at times in certain circumstances, when you have someone coming in and reporting a crime, especially with the way she was reporting it, and I'm going by what we see in the movie, we know the facts, which were the underlying inspiration of that movie, and it's a true story. And we know that Lisa McVeigh did provide the police all this information. But you see that scene where there's the initial police officer, the uniformed officer, speaking to Lisa McVeigh. There's some doubt. Then there's 2 female detectives. And I know the public who's watching this film, there really some outcry about these female officers or detectives. I don't know if that was just some dramatization for the movie or if that really happened, but there's some outcry because they do not believe her. And that is a problem in real life. Sometimes there is a victim who goes into law enforcement, and for whatever reason, they're not looking at for the suspect here, but they're looking at this victim with some doubt. Is there credibility to her story? And I think that with Lisa McVey, at least when she approaches the police, she is sort of victim shamed. She's, there's this question, was she out partying with friends? Did she run away from home? And is that the extent of the situation here? But we now know very well that she was a victim of a gruesome, heinous crime. I think this is back in the early 80s. Now there is a shift in law enforcement with special victims units, with units dealing with sex crimes, where they take these allegations very, very seriously. Does the victim shaming, and I shouldn't say shaming, or victim doubt still happen? Perhaps. But I do think that law enforcement has made strides in terms of, especially when a sex crime is alleged, especially when it's a minor, that they jump on things and they do a thorough investigation. But we look at Lisa McVey's experience and, it brings us all to the edge of our seats because we know it's a true story. And we know that she has a past at home with her grandmother and being sexually abused by the grandmother's boyfriend. And then going through this, and, we really are gripped by this movie. And we know the true story here has a happy ending, if you will, because now Lisa McVey is a law enforcement officer herself, and she deals with sex crimes. And so it's really come full circle, and she's doing some good.
Yes, I read that part, and that made me very happy. And the story is even more harrowing for one reason. Lisa McVey had told A&E that she had planned to kill herself prior to being kidnapped. And this was also depicted in the film. She said, I was living with my grandmother and her boyfriend who had been molesting me for 3 years. I had nowhere else to go. I wrote a suicide note. And when I went to work that day, I kind of felt exhilarated. And she had a plan. She was going to kill herself when she got home. And then when her abductor put a gun to Lisa McVey's head during the kidnapping, she says she stopped feeling suicidal. And that just was, when I saw that, there's nothing but empathy and love you feel for this girl who's a real character. And this really did happen. From your legal perspective, capital punishment, all right, what's your take on this? Because at the end of the day, he was executed, I believe, by lethal injection back in 2019. And he was asked to comment prior to his execution, and he said he had no comment. And she had very strong words. What's your take on capital punishment?
So Xen, capital punishment obviously polarizes the legal community. It has human rights activists, up in arms many times. But capital punishment, when reserved for the most heinous of crimes, is a means to get justice. And this is the sort of case where Bobby Joe Long was someone who murdered 10 women, committed heinous crimes, and during the course of those murders, rape, sexual abuse, kidnapping, and really showed no remorse. That's one thing that we know about Bobby Joe Long, that up until the time of his execution, he never showed real remorse. And whereas you have on the other hand, Lisa McVey, who said that she forgives him, that she thanked him in many ways. And there's that statement, at or about the time he's executed, and she has closure. So we see two different personalities here. And capital punishment, when you have someone who has committed so many egregious crimes, ruined the lives of so many people, not only the victims, but their families, and has done it in a way which is gruesome, abhorrent, and shows no mercy, well, then I think that is the time when capital punishment serves its purpose. And I know I could get a lot of people up in arms about that, but I'm not for capital punishment in every circumstance. That's not the case. But when it's something so egregious, so heinous, and the defendant shows no remorse, well, that's the time where it's implemented for justice's sake.
You said it perfectly, my friend. I couldn't echo your sentiment more. And capital punishment, by the way, guys, is currently authorized in 27 states by the federal government and the U.S. military. And in recent years, we have New Mexico, Illinois, Connecticut, Maryland, New Hampshire, Colorado, and Virginia have legislatively abolished the death penalty, replacing it with a sentence of life imprisonment with no possibility of parole. And I really feel that you have to weigh every case separately. And like you said, in this particular case, there was no remorse, and this man is a monster. And very quickly, I have notes here about the letter that she made a public statement. She said, "Bobby Joe Long, thank you for choosing me instead of another 17-year-old girl. The reason why I say thank you now is because I have forgiven you for what you have done to me. Had I not forgiven you, I might as well have been in my own prison without walls. God has shown me that the only way to be really free when somebody bestows injustice against you is by complete forgiveness." So to your point, and she did forgive him, and she let that go, and now she's doing wonderful. But you are, in a position of seeing these things happen every day. You see bad people go away. You see good people go away. You see it all. What's your, in your line of work, when you see these cases, how do you stay emotionally uninvolved?
Right. So Xen, I've been on both sides of the coin here. I was a prosecutor, as you mentioned, where I prosecuted crimes, and I was with a victim, if it was a victim-based crime, and I lived it with them. I lived it with their family, and we sought justice, and we did it in a way where, we did it pursuant to the law and in order to seek justice. Because when you're a prosecutor, you're not gunning for a conviction. The win at the end of the day is satisfying as an attorney. I think most trial attorneys love to win, as do I. There is a satisfaction to that. But you're really seeking justice. You're seeking justice for the victims. You're seeking justice for the public, because as a prosecutor, you are serving the public. Your client isn't the victim. If you're in New York, it's the people of the state of New York. If you're a federal prosecutor, it's the citizens of the United States, and you're seeking justice on their behalf. Conversely, I work in a firm where we do tons of criminal defense, some high-profile cases, and we, on that hand, are also seeking justice. We're looking to preserve the constitutional rights of our client. We are looking to ensure that the prosecution is held to their burden and their standard in order to have a clean prosecution and hold them to their burden of proving a case beyond a reasonable doubt. And both sides, you really weigh two tasks, but ultimately it's for justice, whether it's justice for the defendant. And again, I need to stress this. As a defense attorney, you are representing unpopular people by nature. You're going to represent people who are accused of heinous crimes. You're going to represent people who are in the public eye and really, persona non grata in the public eye. That's your job as a criminal defense attorney or a defense attorney in a civil case where someone is being accused of causes of action or a lawsuit with unpopular or salacious allegations. Your job is to defend your client zealously. I feel like, lately, a lot of people forget that that's the essence of our justice system, the representation of the unpopular client, making sure that our Constitution is being abided by. People seem to lose that these days, and that is just an important role as the prosecution or prosecuting a crime. An equally important role is the defense and making sure the constitutional rights of a defendant is being held sacred.
And and you guys do such a great job at ABK Law, but we have run out of time. So thank you so much for joining me, but you will be back. You are now going to be doing the next couple of scandal segments with me. So I'm very excited that I get to have to spend some more time with you, because you could just talk for hours, as you could see. So thank you so much for joining me, Imran. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you, Xen. I'll be sure to keep it shorter next time.
You got it. You guys are listening to Imran Ansari from ABK Law. This is Xen Sams. You're listening to A Moment of Xen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this. Well, guys, before I sign off, let's chat NFL and LGBTQ. Now, a week after Carl Nassib's groundbreaking announcement that he's gay, the NFL produced a video in support of his message. The video, released Monday, is very simple, consisting strictly of white text on a black screen. The message is provocative and represents a full embrace of Nassib as the first active NFL player to announce that he's gay. It starts simply with the words, "Football is gay." It continues with drumming and cheering in the background. They continue on by saying, "Football is lesbian. Football is beautiful. Football is queer. Football is life. Football is exciting. Football is culture. Football is transgender. Football is heart. Football is power. Football is tough. Football is bisexual. Football is strong. Football is freedom. Football is America. Football is accepting. Football is everything. Football is for everyone." And it concludes with an image of the NFL shield emblazoned in the rainbow colors of Pride Month before promoting the Trevor Project. Now, the Trevor Project is a charity that seeks to prevent suicide among LGBTQ youth. Nassib initially promoted the charity in his coming out announcement, and it's become huge. LGBTQ plus youth with at least one accepting adult have 40% lower risk of attempting suicide, and that's a fact. Now, the NFL has obviously had gay players before Nassib, but none prior publicly challenged the anti-gay sentiment that exists in locker rooms and sports culture by coming out while they're still playing. Now, Nassib's announcement didn't come without risk. He was immediately met with support from the Raiders, the NFL, the NFLPA, and some players around the league. A week later, the NFL still continues to formally embrace his message with its own message of acceptance and representation. I love happy endings. And we are at the very end of our date. Well, that's a wrap, my friends. Thank you for being loyal listeners. Many of you have already texted me for collaborations, and I love it. Keep those texts coming. You can text "feature me" or "collaboration" to 917-575-2321. Again, that number is 917-575-2321. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. or go to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Xen to watch fully uploaded episodes as of Sunday morning. Remember to tune back in next Saturday at 9 p.m. I have an amazing and exciting lineup of guests as usual. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Xen. It has been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors: Romulus Entertainment, Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City, Vice Cucina, Helen Yarmack International, and Revere Securities. Follow me on social media at Xen